Okay, what is up, guys? We are back like we never left. This is going to be episode 7 of the small cap review. Making this one a little bit earlier today. Had a beautiful trade on SGBX earlier, so I am getting out to enjoy the weekend. I recorded a video specifically for SGBX. I'll go ahead. Never done this, so assuming I can figure it out, I'm going to link it right now on the screen. It's going to be part of a A+ trade review playlist that I'm going to make. And if SGBX is not A+, I don't know what is. So I will probably briefly go over that at some point in this trade. But again, I got about like a 10+ minute video just on SGBX. So go check that out if you're interested. So with that being the case, I will start here with HCTI. So this is one that in pre-market, I had faith that it could be a decent trader. But this action that we got right before open and the action at open showed that this name um, was not going to be strong. It just was not. So first thing here, let's look at the daily. Okay. What I would have liked to see on this name for me to be interested in trading it and for me to have faith that at least we could get a normal trade, not anything blockbuster, but just a tradable name on this thing, would be a couple of things. One, if it opened above these levels, opened at 180, maybe 175 at the lowest and actually open on top of these recent levels as opposed to right below it. Um, and that same thing applies to this pink line for me here is the 50 moving average on the daily. If it opened above that, uh, that would make it a lot better for me as well. A little bit of sauce for you. Put the 50 on the daily on there. Um, Things that open right above it or above it in general have a better chance of being strong names than ones that open below. So it may seem like a small difference, 164 as opposed to, 175, but in the context of the daily chart, it makes a ton of difference. So what I would look for if that was the case is open here and then a move up to $2, test that and see where we go from there. But since that did not happen, it set us up for almost the opposite. Now we do open in this pre-market zone here, but we come up and we reject these first pivots. We have a strong opening, two candles, candle and a half before we get this fake breakout. Then we get even higher volume taking out all of this. So at this point, this name would have to, perform a miracle to come back up like base above and make that move that we wanted to see. Once we get this fake breakout over these levels into this pre-market congestion where pretty much all the volume happened in pre-market. Look at that. Um, Volume profile. Shout out to Anna Cooling. Um, Once you get that, it's your toast. Just straight up your toast. You end up getting a really clean move down to the 5-minute 200, this purple line here for me. Just straight down, nothing in the world stopping it. So instead of being a long name that we liked, once you get this fake breakout, this volume flush below, it is a clean move to the downside, even if you're late. Easy 15% on the name. Yeah, so that was kind of an interesting one. That's one where if you're coming into the day with a bias, not taking in new information as the day develops, as the morning develops, as the open happens, candle by candle, you could find yourself on the wrong side of something like this. So um, let's see. Yeah, that's kind of all the notes that I had on this one. A name that could have been better if it just was had a little bit more staying power in the pre-market opening here. Maybe come up here, pull back it open down here, and then go. So um, Another one we had was an inside bar setup, CTMX. Now this one, like we said, inside bar. We had this nice day 2 days ago, held up yesterday, and set us up for a potential move today. Um, this line, what we had here was actually a gap on the daily. Let me go back and I'll redraw that. So we had this gap on the daily here, and we also had these levels. You know, I don't want to go too crazy, just drawing a bunch of stuff last minute here, but we will add that in. Okay, so yesterday, we're just marking out this blue zone, this high of day zone, which incorporates this previous wick, and then of course the actual high of day exactly. And of course that zone that we just drew proved to be really relevant yesterday with it coming into it, rejecting, touching the top of it, that top wick, and then coming back down. And so today when we're, you know, after hours, you know, if it opens below these levels, you don't love it. But the fact that it's above, dipping into them and opens within these levels, within this previous high day level, you can give it a chance. So kind of tricky price action at the open to the bottom of that range. I mean, that zone we drew was money. Wish we had that drawn out to start the day and had eyes here. But um, you get this move above, and this is really nice, this consolidation right on top of yesterday's high day. So this is really what you want to see when we're talking inside bar play. Unfortunately, it did not have a ton of strength. It just made it up to that gap open. Penny touches it and rejects. So this is a name that, you know, there's no harm, no foul in taking this trade. I mean, it gave you the bare minimum trade on it, but nothing more. So it's like that sometimes. It ends up actually giving a better short opportunity than anything else. I don't even think this is quite to 61 fib. Maybe it is. Usually are. Yep, to the penny. Man, the way the market works, I mean, once you spend enough time staring at it, the only thing surprising is how consistent it can be. So this bounce up, good confluence, pre-market high zone, 61 fib, risking right over top of the high a day, and then you get a nice move below. Again, only thing bad is limited range on that trade because you have that previous high day, which is going to be strong, this daily zone that we had drawn out with a bunch of pivots in between there. So yeah, just a name that lacks range, but actually was pretty clean in the action that it did give. Um, and then that's kind of a theme for WoW as well. It was a name where the range was a little bit limited, but had a pretty decent setup. Let's take a look here. And I think this name was easy to borrow as well. We had a couple of those this morning, and I believe that this was one of them. So um, really clean and easy pivots to draw out here, and it ended up being very respectful of them. We have this big old gap that it has here. I didn't even draw the top of these zones because that's a mile away, and you know, you deal with it. If you deal with it, it gets there if it gets there. So um, you had this nice after hours zone that you could have drawn out. It's quite large, but you know, it is what it is. I don't make the rules. So when you're opening, you know, with EMA stacked positively on the top of this after hours zone, clear gap above, um, it can be interesting. But like I said, I mean, if you're sitting here at open thinking about maybe playing it, you got to realize that's 6%. If you make it up to the nearest resistance, which is likely to be at least decently strong, um, it's only a 6% move. So depending on your trading style and what you want to get out of trades, maybe that's a name you want, maybe it's not. So as we see here, we are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, coming up on a fifth try of this level. Maybe if it breaks above, you know, and starts to curl off of this zone here from 5 to 494, Maybe an interesting name for a bigger move or maybe something early next week. Excuse me. So yeah, limited range, but a little interesting. Again, same thing as CTMX. Not a lot of range, but a pretty clean play. Um, let's see. That's kind of all that I had in the notes. I mean, HSDT just didn't have, if you're juiceless, you're useless. And this thing was without the juice. Can't short it, can't long it here. Would want at least a bounce up towards VWAP. Again, you know what I want, 61 fib bounce for me to get interested in this thing, and only made it up 23% on that bounce. So what's the risk reward when we're doing that? Not very good. So even though we get a nice fade, not a name that I was interested in at all. And then the top gapper just at 42%. Not a lot of big gaps today. Ugly, ugly, ugly pre-market and I guess after hour structure as well. Another name that would need. I mean, I don't even know what the hell's going on with these wicks. I mean, I guess it was just super spready in the pre-market. I wasn't looking at the box, so I can't say that for certain. So um, since we're here, let me just do a quick click through of some of these. Oh, EBS. Wow. Okay. Interesting. So this is day two. EBS was the main one that we had talked about yesterday and was a really nice trader. So maybe we'll get a decent inside bar set up here for Monday, but it could just go into higher low position today and then get that fade off. So honestly, this level right here, this $4, that whole level plus daily pivot where support turned into resistance like we talked about yesterday on it, could see that being another strong level today for maybe a fade back down. So um, we'll touch on SGBX. Like I said, I have a whole nother video that is talking about SGBX earlier, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. But this was just, I mean, through and through, A plus trade. Uh, who knows what it's going to do now? I mean, it had, just today up something like 300%, a little less than that, but I mean, it's nuts.com. So I'm actually going to go ahead, cut it there. Check out the SGBX video on the new playlist of the A plus trade reviews. Hope you guys have a really good weekend. Hope you had a great week trading. Even though we didn't have crazy gappers, it just shows the importance of keeping up to date with names that were previous runners, whether it be yesterday, the day before. Um, I'm thinking about maybe just doing a video on making my watch list for the upcoming week just to show you how I do that. I know when I started, picking names and having the right names in focus was something that's a little difficult. So maybe looking forward to that. If you're interested, let me know. But yeah, again, have a good weekend. Hope you had a good week, and I will catch you guys before too long. Thank you.